Let me put this in a language you can understand. Game got DLC, 2 new characters, Bingy Bongy Boo, and now you can play them. There's one variant of each, let's go over them. Torchwood can be summed up in 3 key words. Big, beefy, boy. Why do I say this? Because, oh my god! Torchwood deals a max of 8 damage up close, which is at minimum 3 at range, with a max DPS of 76 damage. Firing similarly to All-Star, his Gatling gun requires wind up before firing, which can be mitigated by aiming down the sights before firing, which will wind up the weapon, making it more effective at longer ranges. His abilities consist of 1. Blazing Blast, which is the instant win button. He spews a quick burst of flames, dealing 15 damage per flame with a DPS of 10 unicrons per second or something. It doesn't matter, you will die. 2. Smoldering Madness. Torchwood said,
"Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy."
In which he turns blue and, well, fires fire shots at zombies, which deal fire damage and ramp up his Gatling's fire rate. Interesting that this is technically a fire character via an ability. And 3. Leaf Shield. He becomes the immovable object, allowing you to still fire but move slower while increasing defense and taking 50% less damage. That's not okay. Luckily, his movement penalty is enough for him to not become immortal. He can't escape. Once he activates Leaf Shield, there's no going back. You either kill them or you die. Being the second tanky character on the team behind Citron, the second a Torchwood is in sight of the zombies, he becomes the primary target. Listen lads, before we continue this game, the Torchwood must go down, which, yeah, I get why. He is big, strong, and annoying to fight against, and even annoying to play as sometimes. Like, listen, I'm not the best at this game, but I can be pretty alright every blue moon or so. But this guy, I can't play him. For the life of me. But outside of my grubby little hands, Torchwood is a very solid character, not game breaking, as there are counters to his abilities, and you can see him from across the other side of the goddamn map. Torchwood goes into A tier. Now originally would have been S tier, but he's been nerfed so many times over the years that I think A tier is where he properly goes. But still a strong defensive role for the Plants team as a whole. Okay, so the Plants got a playable boss, which makes you wonder, if Plants got one of the most recognizable plant bosses as a playable character, did the zombies also receive this kind of... They got LeBron. Yeah. The Hovergoat 3000. I dubbed the... Now, the Ridge is more of a semi-attack, semi-support character, being a solid soldier-type class, dealing a max of 10 damage per shot with a DPS of 89. That doesn't seem very support-like. Oh, what's this? Scientist hits 70 damage in a single shot. The Ridge has a plethora of useful abilities to use. A, the Damage Buff Booster Beam, or DB Beam for short, which can buff any zombie teammate's damage output by 30%, making them the potential buff the team needs to win any mode or capture any objective. Of course, this will be applied to the most brainlit teammate on your team. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. B, the mega awesome new spectacular amazing tubular big massive incinerating laser beam, new funky mode included for Wii U 2 Deluxe HD Edition Supreme mode. 3000. The beam that works and looks similar to Sunflower's Sunbeam. I don't have a video on her yet. Dealing higher damage than his primary while being much slower, but still able to move, which is neat. He's too cool to be stationary while using his beam. C. Tubular... Oh, hey, I said that word. Tubular Turbo. B. Everyone around you, including yourself, will move faster for a few seconds. So it's basically hyper, but everyone around you can use it, but no one gets the jump boost. The Ridge is a great support class. Now, on launch of the Trials of Gnomes update, these 2 characters were locked behind this entirely new and unique single-player mini-campaign, in which you had to complete these 4 trials, summon 4 different gnomes, which all summon this bigger gnome with some code, but it's really weird, so it would take me a lot longer to really explain every detail of it. But basically what you gotta do is key in door, do thing, fight boss, times by 4, fight final boss, get Mammo. But when people found out about Torchwood, do you think they were happy when this popped up on their screen?
What the hell is even that?
Yeah, not many people were too impressed when Hovergoat appeared out of Zomboss's private folder in the Trials of Gnomes.
Let's get Torchwood and all the zombies get is a goat. Is that it? But I guess what we didn't realise is that this goat is actually, he's pretty good.
But over the years, the Ridge has become one of the most universally respected classes on the zombies. Not an annoying character, because there isn't really anything cheesy about him. Maybe the immunity to goatified, but that's it. You have eyes, don't you? Does this look like it would get goatified? It permanently is goatified. It's a goat. Or is it? Hovergoat is a solid character too. I'd say in terms of overall usefulness, he is a lot better than Torchwood. Less beefy, only having 125 health, but being smaller and easier to use. Not to mention, he looks cool as fuck, dog. Hovergoat can sit into S tier. Honestly, one of the most fun, fair, and balanced classes in the game. And for their designs, yeah, I didn't forget. Torchwood is a tree. So being predominantly brown with green vines on him of course works great. Really applying age to this character, being much bigger and older looking than the rest of the cast. The obvious flames rising above his head, hence the name Torchwood. But it's so strikingly faithful to the original PVZ plant, while very Garden Morpher-esque with the Gatling on his arm. Of course, having multiple feet, which are the roots of his body, is a great touch. Yeah, out of these two characters, Torchwood is definitely the more generic character design, but he still looks quite good, being faithful to his original counterpart. But at that compared to how some characters look in this game, his default look is getting his C+ tier, as it is just a tree and kind of vague. His costumes look like variants, which sadly aren't, but I'm gonna have to rate them quickly. Third, Sugar Plum Fairy. Second, Tree X1000. My favorite, Gingerbark House. I think the Gingerbread House is the nicest one, but the Tree X1000 is also great. Torchwood, you are good. Now please stop spamming Blazing Blast and get out of my...
That's too easy!
Now, Hovergoat is quite literally the raddest character in town, rocking the hoverboard and visor from the year 3455. His purple mohawk and... oh, he's got a goatee. For God's sake, PopCap, you're so funny with that one. His color scheme consisting of whitish grey, blue, and purple are... a delight. His hoverboard producing little shapes when you ride along the floor are almost hypnotic to look at, and all the little buttons, gadgets and lights that flicker, glow and adjust on his weapon and even his hoverboard and backpack, which are quite similar to Space Cadet from BFN. Wait, the weapon hanging off to the side of the character, the spacey futuristic aesthetic, the fact that both characters have a jump that lets them float/hover in the air for longer. Do you think maybe that Space Cadet is just a heavily inspired/altered version of Hovergoat? But hey, that's...
We'll get around to me being impregnated.
I mean, apparently Hoverbo's sound clips are just heavily edited Foot Soldier ones. Maybe they were lazy after all. Where was I? Oh yeah, the design. The boots. The UGG classic ultra mini sky blue Uggs from poison.com. Yes, I did just Google some similar shoes and that came up. But overall, even without costumes, Hovergoat 3000 is in my top 10 zombie designs for sure. Plus, the 3 costumes you get are all insanely good. At third place, it's the Beach Bomber. Look, I know, yeah, the costume itself, other than the sunglasses, never really interests me that much. I like the board. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. In second is the gingerbread one, which is Christmas. The lights and reindeer antlers make this one for me, to be honest. And my favorite costume is the Wishmate, purple bias taking over. The comedic value his weapon has always been amazing to me. The genie lamp being held sideways like a gun. But even though I like Wishmaker the most of the 3, I'd rather just rock the OG Hovergoat, cause nothing beats the Ridge. He belongs in S tier for his default alone. The goat-iest character there is. Hey, stop throwing things at me, come on, This is a shorter video than the rest, I know, but I'm currently working on other videos right now, so you're not gonna have to wait long. Remember, 2025 is my year! Hopefully I won't have to cover any other obscure PvZ shooter characters that don't have variants.